Welcome back to Sioux Falls and Summer League Basketball Media Day, and we are joined now by Billy Wright, the head coach of the Western Illinois men. And how are you, sir?
Doing well. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us out.
Right on. Let's talk a little bit about Western Illinois, by the way, is the only original member of the Summer League back when it was the Mid-Continent. So there's a lot of tradition there. This is the only original program that is still in the league. And I think you address this a little bit with your team every year, what it means to be a Leatherneck and what it is for Western Illinois. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for us as a program, we focus in on, all in, be the best person you can be the best student you can be the best basketball player you can be, and then play hard, play smart, play together, all for one for all. But as a program, as a university, as an institution, tradition of tough, and just taking pride in being a Leatherneck and, finding a way to get it done in a nutshell. And it's been a great honor to represent that tradition of tough. Our players embrace it each and every day in practice, in the classroom, in the weight room, and that's kind of our motto.
All right. And you were there as an assistant. You went away to Bradley for a year. Why'd you come back and why'd you want to be the Western Illinois head coach?
Well, I think it's always hard to get a head coaching position. I think I was very, very blessed for the opportunity, thankful for the opportunity. I think working here 5 years as an assistant coach under Jim Molinari, very familiar with the program, with the university, with the administration. And it's just a blessing, and when I had the opportunity to interview, I jumped at it. And a lot of the players that were already on the roster, I had a hand in their recruitment, and it was just familiar. It felt like home, and it was a very, very comfortable decision. It wasn't an easy decision because at the time, I had just, my wife and I had our firstborn, and he was 4 months. So we were back closer to home, and grandparents are happy, and it's like, we only here for 11 months, and now we got to turn around and go back. So, but very, very thankful for the opportunity, and just trying to continue to make everyone happy.
People kind of forget you guys have lives and kids, and it's a tough decision to move around.
Absolutely.
Like that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you got one of the premier big men in the Summit League, and Brandon Gilbeck back, and Defensive Player of the Year. And I'm just curious, defensively, like, how does that alter how you coach a team when you got a great big man like that can help protect the rim?
Well, just keep emphasizing the fact that he never fouls. And to his credit, if you look at the transition of the rules and the point of emphasis and the cylinder rule, this is his fourth year now, and each year it seems like he's had to adjust, whether it's the cylinder rule, the point of emphasis, freedom of movement. And he feels like once he gets it under control, it's a new rule. So he's had to adjust. He's done a tremendous job learning the new rules and applying it to his game. But he's definitely a force at both ends of the floor, and we're thankful he's on our team.
Led the league in field goal percentage last year as well, in addition to block shots. And you talk about you try to convince people that he never fouls. There was a game at South Dakota State last year where he got in foul trouble early, totally changed the game. He makes that kind of impact coming in and out of the game, right?
Absolutely. From day one, he's been a premier shot blocker, rim protector in our league. I think he's one of the best underrated in the country. I think he ranks right up there at the top of the shot blockers, rim protectors in the country. And we're just very thankful for his progress and all the things that he's been able to accomplish since he's been in our program. Look forward to him having a breakout, another great senior year.
Guy who had a breakout year last year, Kobe Webster, was on the All-Summer League newcomer team, led you guys in scoring, led you guys in assists. He was top 10 in the league in scoring, and he had a breakout year. What's he do now this year?
Well, just continue to be consistent. I think he's gotten stronger over the summer. I think he's a guy that's an ultimate gym rat. Not only does he go to the gym and work out, he's a guy that will bring a teammate or two or three along. And I think that's something that he's grown, is that leadership role. It wasn't given to him right away. He's kind of earned that and embraced the leadership process that comes with being a freshman point guard. So he's grown in that area. Just look for him to be a consistent two-way player at both ends of the floor.
I got to follow up with that too. You don't see freshmen that average 18 points a game, and that's what Webster averaged last year. Did you sense that as a coach early on, that he had that kind of ability as a freshman to be able to step in and provide that kind of scoring for you guys last year?
I thought he had a chance. I think it also shows how great our league was last year, because he didn't make the first team or the second team all conference. And you look at his numbers and his stats as a freshman, I don't think there's ever been those numbers that they didn't make the first team or the second team. But to his credit, he comes from a prestigious high school. He played with Jaren Jackson Jr. in high school, is now with the Memphis Grizzlies. So he's come from a winning tradition. He's come from a big-time basketball environment. And I thought he had a chance. And with him, I think the new rules has helped him, the freedom of movement, because he's very, very skilled. He's very, very shifty. He can get from point A to point B and get up into a shot. And the new rules, you can't, at least you're not supposed to be allowed to bump them on the movement. And I think that really helped his game.
And you're good with that. Are you good with that? Where it's a little advantage to the offensive player, or is it?
I'm kind of old school. When I play, you can put that forearm on them, but I know the game has grown. It changes, and we have to change with the time. But we emphasize with our kids: show your hands, move your feet, and wall up.
All right, and you talk about Gilbeck. You talk about Kobe Webster. C.J. Duff, I believe, is back. Isaac Johnson was a guy that you really liked last year.
Yeah, I thought, you look at how he ended the year. He averaged 20 points a game over the last 5 games. Thought he was really playing his best basketball as a freshman. You put him and Webster in that freshman class, and you've got some really good young talent.
Yeah, we feel really good about the roster and where it's at as far as our class and the potential that we have. Guys who've been in our program 2 or 3 years now. And you look at a guy like Isaac Johnson, so cliche, coaches emphasize, when your time comes, be ready. When your time comes, be ready. And he was the ultimate guy who was ready. Jeremiah, who went down with a hip injury, missed the second half of the season. You insert another freshman in Isaac, and like you said, he averaged double figures in the last 12 to 15. Had a great Summit League tournament game out here as a freshman. I think he's poised to be a dominant force in our league.
And you mentioned Jeremiah. Yussi Osefi was injured last year, back now, right?
Absolutely. He actually just got cleared last week, and he's practiced full contact 3 days now, and you have to shake off a little bit of rust because he hasn't done anything since January. And he's actually had 2 hip surgeries. He had one on both sides. So he's a veteran for us, a guy who's our team leader emotionally. He's a team captain. Statistically, he shot, I think, 38% from 3. So he has a chance, gives us that spacing that we need to give Gilbeck some room down low. And we're really excited to have him back.
And you look at those guys coming back, and we were just talking about this in the hallway. People are not picking you guys to do anything in the league this year, and that seems insane a little bit, doesn't it, Brad?
I was really surprised, honestly, to see you pick 9th when I saw, what you had returning, the young players you have. You got a steady senior in Gilbeck that really helps you defensively. I guess as a coach, obviously I would imagine that's bulletin board material in the locker room to help motivate you guys.
For the most part, I think for the players, it's definitely something that we know what's out there, and with the social media era that we live in, it's hard to avoid. But our guys are motivated, definitely, and it's not a true representation of who we are. We know that all we are is a byproduct of the work that we put in each and every day. And I don't know how those votes came about, but in all seriousness, if you look at what we've done last year, that's probably about right. If you base it solely on what was done last year, as opposed to what's returning and the recruits coming in.
Right. Yeah, 3-11 in the league last year. Were there some games that you thought you should have got? What was the record last year indicative of what the season was?
Well, if you look at, you lose Jeremiah, starter, after 2 games in conference, so you have to make an adjustment. You insert another freshman, and he has, it takes 2 or 3 weeks for him to get some things under control. And he's out of position as well. There's some games we felt like if we executed better down the stretch, we probably could have came out on top.
All right, quick look at the schedule here for Western Illinois men. You guys have an exhibition game coming up on Monday, right?
Yes.
I mean, a week from today, you guys are playing, and then a couple in the preseason here at Creighton, at Nebraska. Edwardsville's usually a tough team. IUPUI, former Summer League member, still in there. What do you got coming up before you get to Summer League play?
Well, just continue to practice and get better each and every day, control the process, embrace the grind. And I think, our non-conference schedule is very, very, very competitive. You look at some of the teams on our schedule, some teams that have future potential pros. You look at Northern Illinois, you look at SIU Edwardsville, IUPUI, at UT Martin. There's 16 road games this year. It's the most in program history. So we'll definitely be the road warriors. And just with what we have coming back, we're poised for it. They know what to do. They understand how to execute at both ends of the floor. And we just focus on embracing the grind and attack the grind.
All right, social media wants to know a few things from Billy Wright. Let's go to Elena Lanson for that.
Hey, Coach, your first question from Mavs Laker. What's more beneficial to your non-conference couple games to start off with, a major on the road or a mid-major at home?
I would say they're both equally important. You always want to have home games in front of your fans and in front of your student and the community who supports you each and every day. But nothing beats that road, high major Power 5 environment. I think you come out here to the Summit League tournament, there's 10,000 screaming fans, and you look at some of the non-conference opponents. We try to prepare our team for Summit League and March Madness by playing some powerhouse schools who have that environment, that fan base.
And we talked about Gilbeck being such a defensive end and just being really tough on the defensive end. But on offense, what's it going to take to give him that offensive punch? What's he been doing in practice?
He's one who's committed to getting better. I think for him to go from averaging 10 points to maybe 18 points, he works on his free throw shooting. He's a guy that's in the gym each and every day, getting more touches and quite frankly, being on the court. I think the games that he was in foul trouble obviously hurt his offense and defensive output. So just stay consistent, keep working hard, and stay out of foul trouble.
Talk about the history a little bit of the program. In the time that you've been there, go back to like 2011, 2012. You guys were this close to winning the Summit League tournament. Do you remember this game?
Jack
South Dakota State?
Yeah. There's a miscommunique on a switch in the corner three, and I think we were up 10 that game. And in the second half, so
you guys were way ahead. Tommy Tyler was playing.
Yeah,
Ciola Clark had a shot. You're talking about, and I just bring this up because you guys have been that close to getting to the Summit League Championship, winning that tournament, and getting to the NCAA tournament. That's the goal ultimately, right?
Absolutely. You play the game to win, win at a high level. Regular season conference championship is a grind, but it's ultimate goal. And then obviously getting to postseason play is ultimate goal as well. And you look at what our women were able to do 2 years ago. That's definitely even more motivation, and say, hey, we can do it too. It can be done here at Western Illinois University. You just look at what our women were able to do and what we almost did in 2012 and got to share the conference in 2013.
All right, last thing quick here. You coached Jeff Teague, plays with the Minnesota Timberwolves, coached him at Pike High School in Indianapolis, I think, right?
Correct.
What do you make of the Minnesota Timberwolves right now? Just a thought on that to take us out here.
You know what? I think it's a professional NBA organization, and with that, you'll have moments where contract disputes and those things are part of NBA professional life. And haven't really asked him any questions about that. And he wouldn't even tell me if he had an opinion. But just really pleased with that young man and his progress over his career. And a young man coming out of middle school, you never have thought he'd be playing in the NBA 10+ years. And so just really proud of him and all the guys that played for me in the past.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate the time here. Billy Wright and the Western Illinois Med. Up next, when we come back to Sioux Falls on Summit League Media Day, the University of North Dakota women and head coach Travis Brewster.